Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very, very accomplished entrepreneur from Indore, India, Mr. Dhruv Jolly. Dhruv, welcome to the show.
Thank you for the welcome, Mr. Ashutosh. It's all my pleasure to be here in talks with you.
Thank you. Dhruv is the founder and managing director of TapOnn, and he's worked for several companies earlier. So, Dhruv, tell me a little bit about TapOnn and how did you come up with the idea?
So, I'll tell you about TapOnn. Like, say, just before this, where we were discussing that how the world is getting technology advanced and people don't have so much of time in getting through all those things. Everyone wants everything instant, right? So, and then the second thing, as I was involved into multiple companies, one time I realized that there are so many visiting cards which I have, and some of them I can't use also because the data has been updated, some numbers are not in use. And it was going in my mind, man, there is something which needs to be done for that because this visiting card is not serving the purpose. And it's a very, what you say, ironic story that I was visiting Bombay for some networking event. It's just after the first lockdown. And there, after that, what a Bombay, when you're in Bombay, you go to have the street food. And I realized that these Bhel Puri walas were giving visiting cards, cutting them into the 4 pieces and handing them over instead of spoons. And that's where I thought, man, being an entrepreneur and a founder, we put so much efforts and so much dreams in a visiting card to get it done so that it will somehow lead us to a connection or a business or something. And when it's getting served as a spoon, it really hurted me at that time. And I saw that, okay, man, there's something which needs to be done. The purpose is not getting served. And that's where we went into deep into that. And some, few months later on, TapOnn was there.
Wonderful. I've often heard people using the other people's visiting cards as bookmarks, but using them as a spoon is a new one and probably a very sensible one. When I think of all my visiting cards, probably a better use for that would be to use it as a spoon.
Exactly. Like at least it's like somewhere you are saving the environment too by, somewhere, not going to the plastic side of the spoons.
Great response.
But
Thank
in
you.
Bombay, you will see it more often if you visit it, especially Jutara and all.
Wonderful. So, Dhruv, tell me a little bit more about what did you do when you realized there was this challenge, and what does a TapOnn user get?
I'll tell you. So, when we saw this challenge, so what happened is that coming to the same story, we came back to Indore, right? From that. So I was basically to give you a brief about I was in Australia for 9 years, right? And I came here in India for some work and then lockdown got up, right? And Australia was the country who opened their gates at the last, like they opened their gates in 2022. So that 2 years was very, struggle for me, and we would just keep finding it out that what to do. So when I came from Bombay and I went to my office and I saw that there are two big, boxes of my own visiting cards, which is kept there. And we made it in a very premium style and everything. So I realized, man, that's around 70,000-80,000 lying it and I can't use it. At the same time, there was another box for all these other people who were there. So that's what the problem happened. And then what we did to solve it out was that I was like, if somehow, technology will be there to solve it out. We have to do something with the technology to solve that out. And that's where I got into details. So for me, I'll tell you a story. Initially, when I got into this, I thought that the NFC is a very new technology. This is something which is coming into the market. Let's get it going. Still today's date, people are wondering that NFC is a very new technology, but it's very old. Like it goes back 14, 15, 20 years now. So like say, the cards which is used for lifts, the cards which is used for your entry access in a corporate office and all, everything works on NFC and RFID. So that's where we thought that, man, with some technology, if we can get it going, it can be more useful. So one thing I knew that technology should be integrated to it to make it more faster. Second thing, I started noting it down that if, say, like, for example, if I want to convert you as my client, what all information needs to be shared? If we put it down, it can't come into one visiting card. So you have to, so that's where that digital profile comes up. So that's where, after a constant research of 6 months and experimenting different kinds of product, we realized that, okay, cards, smart cards are the products to go forward. And with this, so what our users get is, our users get a card. We have accessories like coins and sockets, which can be sticked at the back. And with this, they also get an access to our application, where through our application, everything gets set up, and they can set up all their profile from their social medias to contact details to everything can be set up through our app. And when they tap it through, automatically all their profile goes to you. So the other person, to connect it with them, it's just a click for them to get in touch with them. So this is what TapOnn is there, and it's basically
So
solving
what you're
the
telling me is that
networking.
you and I will both have an app of TapOnn.
Not
And,
you. So only as a user, I will have it, but the other recipient who I want to share the information, they don't need any application.
I see. And what format will it come on to, say, on my phone?
It will come on, like, it will open up on your local browser. If you are using iPhone, it will open up on your Safari. If it's Android, it will open up on Google or Mozilla or whichever browser you are using. And then from there, you have multiple access. Like, you can directly save the details in your contacts. You can directly, click on the social media platform and get connected to there on that particular social media platform. With one click, it will directly open a chat on my WhatsApp. So all those things will be also be available.
Very interesting. So, there are, I'm sure, many more apps available which can do this. How does TapOnn differentiate itself from other digital networking platforms, and what tools are available, through TapOnn on the market?
Amazing. So again, so we are actually not reinventing anything, right? We are just making the whole information passing more easy and more instant and more efficient, right? So there are different networking platforms, but what is happening is that no one is working in creating an ecosystem of networking.
Okay.
To give you more clarity on that, the things are like that say, if it's LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn is also comes onto a networking platform which generates profession. They are very limited to LinkedIn. If LinkedIn gives you a QR code, that QR code will only be accessible to LinkedIn profile, nothing else. You can't share more things into that.
Right.
There are some applications who gives you an access to digital profile, like say Linktree, Beacon.ai, who gives you a a bio link which can be kept in there, which gives you access where they can hyperlink all the platforms and all the links. But again, they are limited in not sharing you the contacts, locations, or WhatsApp details and everything. Then there are some companies who are also working in the smart NFC products, but they are also, again, some doesn't provide an application, some provides an application but doesn't give users an access to control what they want to share or gives them proper analytics onto that. So after the thorough research, we thought that, okay, if we want to go, let's create a whole ecosystem for them. So where users can update all their profiles, all their social medias, everything, can control what they can do. We give them a unique link which can be used for virtual meetings. We give them a unique background which gets them an access to virtual meetings and everything. So this is where TapOnn is coming as a differentiation point by being a one-stop solution for all your networking and connection needs.
Okay, very interesting.
So what happens, like say, if I share it to you, soon in 1 week, we are launching that feature. So you will get an access that, okay, I want to share my details to Dhruv also. Automatically, that contacts will come into TapOnn itself.
I see.
Now, already, like your own contacts will be flooded with people, right? WhatsApp was a good thing, but now it's flooded with family groups and everything. LinkedIn is flooded with cold messages and all. So still, as the technology is growing, as the professional growth is growing, they want a segmented contacts list, which is specially for their professionals. So this can be used, TapOnn can be used just for the professional hustlers and to level up their game.
But the other question that has often been asked, and I'm sure you've been asked this many times, is that if I'm going to put my personal data through TapOnn, how do you ensure privacy and security of my data?
So one thing, we have already registered ourselves with GDPR compliance, right? Which is, I think so, on the world's top thing for data privacy and compliance. So we have already applied to that. They have given us a green tick to that. It's just the formality of the certificate is left to come to us. Second thing is that right now, all the details which we are doing. So for example, TBYC is already there in online website, right? Your page is already there on YouTube. Your page is already there on LinkedIn, right?
Correct.
What we are doing is that out of that millions of web links which is available on the online, we are just giving you an stairway or an access. By just a click, you can directly reach there.
Correct.
Like, say, if I want to connect to you, I go to LinkedIn and write down Ashutosh. There will be thousands of Ashutosh coming.
Correct. Correct.
Now, for me to connect to right one, it gives a certain times it gives a hustle to people, right? That okay, which one to do. So this is where we are actually just putting out the way in making that access more efficient. That's it. Then also we give our users an access to control through our app. So just with a click of button, they can switch off their profile. Just with a click of button, they can select what they want to share, what they don't want to share. If the card is lost, they can deactivate the card from the app itself. So those control comes to the user.
Interesting. And I was looking at some apps some time back, and they say, it was very interesting. If you tap two phones together, your personal data goes across.
Right. That happens.
Is that something that's there in TapOnn also?
So that is there right now, but we are not promoting because, again, it's something which is not in our hands. This is something which is rivalry between Apple and Android, which keeps on going. So what happens is that Apple to Apple tap happens, Samsung to Samsung tap happens, but still they have not figured out, or they have not made it so open that from Apple to Android with a tap, the data gets transferred.
Okay.
So eventually we are predicting that in future it will come.
It will happen. But given the fact that you're doing so much work on networking, what are your personal thoughts on how do you see the future of networking and business interactions, and how do you think TapOnn will continue to evolve?
So I will tell you, our tagline is your network is your net worth. So that is something, it's not just that we didn't had anything, that's why we built the company. It's something which we ourselves follow, all our founders and team and the CXOs level who are all present there, follow the same thing through by our heart, that, nowadays your networks, your connects are something which actually values you. People don't want to see how much money you have in your pocket.
Correct.
People want you to see that from one call or one, sitting in one office, how many connections you can make. It's the world of globalization. You can do everything from sitting at a village. You can do anything from sitting in New York. So it's all about network. So, and particularly after COVID, I think so this importance of networking, being connected, making connections have increased tremendously. Like how the adoption of digital in India has been, has growth. I think so networking importance have also been growing every day.
Right.
Every day there's tens of networking events which is happening. There's tens of connections which is going. So I think so this is just a start. In coming time, there will be so many things happening in networking sector and making people connections and being connected with each other.
Very interesting. The other question that I had was that, after the pandemic, people have shifted a lot to hybrid work.
Right.
Partly work from home, partly in the office.
Right.
Given the changing landscape of remote work and so many virtual events happening, how do you see TapOnn, adjusting to a lot of these new forms of working?
So a very good point. I will tell you one thing, right? So when we were starting it out, right, we knew that, okay, we are at a very bootstrap level. Even if we get a funding, we won't get so much money to burn. How will we beat it? So, sir, to give you an idea, like, you asked me, like, how TapOnn you think about the future in networking. So, we are actually working in creating a whole ecosystem for networking. So,
Correct.
our future gameplay works on application only.
Hmm.
Like the card like this or coins and socket, it's just we have used this to just have an entry point to the market,
Hmm.
right? Because if you would have come with just an application, there would be a lot of burn which we have to do.
Hmm.
With this, at least it makes people very cool and getting that one tap connects. It's a
Hmm.
conversation starter and everything. So that is what we all are thinking that okay, this is what was our entry to the market.
Hmm.
Yes, virtually things are happening. Again, now, like say, when I was pitching for my businesses, right?
Hmm.
Or when employees or my team or some any new hiring sends me their portfolio,
Hmm.
what they do is that they send multiple links.
Hmm.
Google Drive link, Behance link, portfolio link, website, their
Correct.
resume, their everything. At a normal course, what people do is that they just check on one, two links and then they judge it by themselves.
Correct.
So with TapOnn, we just give you one link, you share it to them, and everything is very well structured, present. People can tap, get to know, okay, they are going here, they are going on the Google Drive. So this is where that, in that hybrid model also, or in that virtual model also, everything works.
Hmm.
Now, what my app does is that my apps gives you stats.
Hmm.
So say if I share you my link, it will give you stats. Okay, Mr. Ashutosh had clicked on LinkedIn, or
Hmm.
Mr. Ashutosh have clicked on Insta,
Hmm.
or out of your 300 connections you have made, 160 connections have connected you over LinkedIn, only 20 connections have connected you over Insta.
Hmm.
So this gives more detailed analytics and idea to the people that where their connections are actually seeing them,
Hmm.
which are the platforms or which are the places they need to focus more to get an idea.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
we are working and we ourselves are have a hybrid model. In long term, our whole working will be all around application, be it virtually, be it physically, how you want to connect.
Hmm. And when you look at the tap on data or information, is it fully customizable by the user? Because now there's so much that
Yes.
we all want to put, from our
Yes.
social media handles to our phone numbers to, our blog, and we all are on
Everything.
multiple platforms.
Everything you can do everything. Like if you allow me, I can just screen mirror and show you my app and it can give you a brief idea.
No, we don't have that capability right
In
now.
Zoom, right? That won't have that will
But
have, but you get access through just one click. You can control everything. You can choose what you want to share, what you want to share.
very interesting. My next question to you is on technology. Uh, how much has technology played a role in building Tap On? And what are the kinds of technologies that you're using?
So one major technology which is at the topmost importance to us is the NFC technology.
Hmm.
The whole power pack of our product or of our system works on NFC technology itself. It's powered with that. So you can say that our backbone is backed up by technology, which is NFC.
Hmm.
And then, our applications and everything comes around, which again is all tech based. So we have a tech stack of React, AI, Python, and everything.
Hmm.
And that's where the whole thing is working around.
Okay. I have time for two more questions, Dhruv. Um, as an entrepreneur, because you spent 9 years in Australia, and I'm assuming you were working for some other companies then.
Right.
As an entrepreneur, what have been some of your major learnings as you have navigated the challenge of building a business?
Um, so see, again, learnings is something where I think so you will agree with that. There's no age limit of
Correct.
learning. Every day it's a new day. Every day you learn a lot of things.
Mm.
Two things which I realized while I was working in the corporate sector, while I started my own businesses, and now with TapOnn also. One thing is that quite a lot of time, what I've seen with other my fellow entrepreneurs also, they keep on thinking.
Mm.
So what I believe is that rather than thinking, let's just implement it. No one is gonna be perfect in the first time.
Mm.
And rather than we sitting at an office or in our cabin and discussing that, okay, how will that hundred or thousands or millions of users gonna judge us on our product? Instead of that, let's just put it in front of them. Let them give us a feedback that, what's gonna be the best thing in your product, what's gonna be there. So like, so for example, we thought that our product is very ready. We put it for beta testing, right? And then one of our client gave us some suggestions that, this is what you can do, this is how you can do, which actually we implemented. And then a lot of our users, appreciated us, that this is something which we also didn't realize until it actually happened. So this is a really good step. Again, that was a step which made us apart from the competitors. Like say one person was there that, I have 3 companies. Can I have multiple profiles to do that? We didn't had a multiple profile plan before. But now we were like, okay, we will get it, right? Because this is something which is coming from my users, having the access to change the colors. So that if my one profile is blue, one profile is black. So these are the kinds of feedback which in this 4 months of spam, we got it from our users. And we were lucky with our tech team that, we got that, we had that team and had that support so that we could implement it ASAP. And in next 15 days, the whole features will go. And what happens is that when you listen to your users and they see that it's getting implemented, they feel important. So sometimes they themselves become your salespeople, or they become your support system in that.
Correct. Well said. And Dhruv, my last question to you, and this is for the many, many young people who will listen to our conversation. Based on your own journey and your journey as an entrepreneur, as a professional, what would you say are 3 lessons you would want our viewers and listeners to take away?
So the 3 lessons which I would take, again, I will come with that first thing. Let's just try. Do not give up, right? You never know which things works where, right? So it's just upon that, how willingly are you willing to try and go out to the market? Second, believe in team. I don't think so alone person can do anything. It's better, no matter how small you want to start or how big you want to go or where you want to go. It's always good to have a foundation team with you who can help you it out. So because that's where the growth comes around. And third, be very happy and be very acceptance to criticism, particularly when it's your startup. Be up for criticism, be up for people coming to you and putting out points and giving you negative reviews, because that is something which builds you up. The more criticism you take, the better, you are ready for the future hustles and everything.
Well said. And on that note, Dhruv, and your 3 wonderful lessons: try, don't give up. Second, you said, was believe in teams, which is so important. And the third one, which I think a lot of people find difficult to accept, which you said, is accept criticism. And or also you can call it accept customer feedback. Thank you so much for speaking to me about your own journey, about TapOnn. TapOnn seems to be a very, very interesting product. I'm going to certainly go and look for it on
Sure, sir. Would love to send you one.
And we'll see what we can, I'd love to become a user. And thank you again for talking to me about your journey. Thank you again.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.